Captain Eva Santos braced against the onslaught. The bridge of her starship, the Paladin, trembled under the relentless barrage of alien fire. Outside the viewports, the once pristine blue of Earth was marred by explosions and the twisting shapes of enemy vessels. Shields at 20% and failing. Lieutenant Chen's voice crackled over the comms. Evasive maneuvers, Eva barked, her heart heavy. They were the last line of defense. Earth's orbital stations had fallen hours ago, and the ground forces were being overrun, despite their heroic resistance. If the Paladin fell, there would be nothing left to stop the invaders. Her crew, battle-hardened veterans and fresh-faced recruits alike, carried out their duties with grim determination. Their combined firepower tore through a few smaller alien fighters, but it was futile against the Dreadnought-class ships looming in the distance. Each alien vessel outmatched them in technology and firepower by orders of magnitude. The humans had fought valiantly, but this, Eva realized, was the end. Suddenly, a wave of energy washed over the Paladin, throwing the entire crew off balance. Alarms blared, and lights flickered wildly. "What the hell was that?" Santos said, steadying herself on the arm of her command chair. "Unknown, Captain," Chen replied. "It seems to be originating from Earth." Eva peered down at the planet below. A strange, resonant hum filled the air. Then, in a sight that sent chills down her spine, the scattered pyramids of Earth began to glow with an ungodly luminescence. The Great Pyramid of Giza, the Stepped Pyramid of Saqqara, the Mayan pyramids of Central America. Their ancient stones crackled with an energy the likes of which Eva had never witnessed. Then, as if responding to some unseen signal, beams of light shot forth from the pyramids, intertwining and converging in a space above the alien fleet. For a breathless moment, nothing happened. But then, a shockwave rippled outwards, incinerating a cluster of enemy fighters. "By all the stars," Eva breathed, barely believing her eyes. "Captain, more energy surges detected. The pyramids, they're aligning." Chen's voice could barely contain his astonishment. Panic spread throughout the enemy fleet. Smaller alien vessels scattered in confusion, but the colossal dreadnoughts stood their ground, their own weapons blazing in retaliation. A blinding beam of energy streaked from the nexus of the pyramid network, striking a dreadnought with terrifying precision. The alien ship, a technological marvel moments ago, crumpled inward, collapsing upon itself like a dying star. Cheers erupted on the Paladin's bridge. A flicker of hope ignited in their hearts. But their respite was short-lived. The aliens adjusted their tactics, sending smaller craft on desperate suicide runs to disrupt the pyramid's energy network. Human fighters swarmed to intercept them, but the battle turned into a brutal dogfight amidst the crisscrossing energy beams. "Captain!" Chen shouted. "Incoming missiles, targeting Giza." Eva watched in horror as the missile streaked towards the Great Pyramid. Before impact, the side of the ancient structure shimmered, dissolving into a translucent energy barrier that absorbed the blast harmlessly. "What just happened?" she muttered, bewildered but grateful. "Sensor readings are off the charts," Chen said, his eyes wide. "There's a force field shielding the pyramids." As if spurred on by this new defense, the pyramid network intensified, firing devastating energy lances that carved through the alien fleet. Eva realized they had gained a fighting chance, but the aliens still vastly outnumbered them. It was a race against time, humanity's survival hanging in the balance by a thread. Aboard one of the alien dreadnoughts, Commander Zerk snarled in frustration. He had overseen countless conquests, his armada's technological prowess unchallenged. Now, these primitive humans and their relics had dared to defy him. "Focus all firepower on the primary structure," Zerg commanded, pointing at the now fully glowing Great Pyramid. "Shatter it, and their archaic weapon system will fall." As if reading his intentions, Beams from the lesser pyramids swiveled, weaving a defensive web around Giza. The pyramid seemed to pulse with its own heartbeat, channeling the energies of its counterparts across the planet. The ensuing onslaught was something out of a nightmare. Blinding flashes of weaponized energy tore through the skies as the alien dreadnoughts unleashed their full, destructive potential. The pyramid's force fields flickered and waned under the pressure, but miraculously, they held. The Paladin, battered but unbowed, took advantage of the distraction. Ava rallied her fighters, leading them in a daring hit-and-run attack against the distracted dreadnoughts. Each successful strike brought the pyramids precious time. On Earth, fear had subsided, giving way to feverish activity. With the realization that the pyramids were their salvation, global forces mobilized with unprecedented unity. Fighter jets soared from hidden bases, antiquated tanks rumbled into position, and anyone who could hold a weapon rallied in a desperate defense of the ancient sites. Among the defenders was Dr. Evelyn Zhao, an unassuming archaeologist who'd spent her life studying the pyramids. She stood at the foot of the Great Pyramid, surrounded by scientists, engineers, and hastily converted soldiers. Using ancient schematics and Zhao's insights, they worked frantically to augment the pyramid's defenses. According to these carvings, the pyramids were built as conduits, Zhao shouted above the chaos of battle. But for what kind of energy? What power source? An engineer, his face smudged with grease and dust, pointed upwards. Look, something's building beneath the apex. A pulsating sphere of swirling energy began to manifest within the pyramid's top chamber. Zhao gasped, recalling tales of a mystical power the ancients referred to as the heart of the earth. Could this be real? Meanwhile, in orbit, the alien's fury intensified. Zerk, his once impeccable uniform now disheveled, bellowed commands. His voice laced with desperation. They had severely underestimated this insignificant planet and its baffling structures. "Concentrate fire!" he roared. "Shatter that main pyramid or we all fall here today!" The dreadnoughts unleashed a final, devastating barrage, focusing their energies into a single overwhelming beam that tore towards the Great Pyramid. The collective gasp of humanity was almost audible from orbit. The combined energy of the alien dreadnoughts struck the Great Pyramid, the force field straining, warping, threatening to crack. Within the pyramid, Zhao and her team watched the defense systems falter, and the terrifying power of the alien attack seeped through. Sparks flew as equipment began to explode all around them. "We have to stabilize it," Zhao screamed over the chaos. "If we can channel the energy into the heart." The engineer, who moments ago had pointed out the energy sphere, looked at Zhao, his eyes wide. "The heart of the earth? You don't think—" "It's insane, I know," Zhao shouted back. "But the pyramids aren't weapons themselves. They're conduits, amplifiers." Frantically, they patched systems together, rerouting the influx of energy away from the failing external defenses and directly into the burgeoning energy sphere at the pyramid's apex. In space, Ava watched in a mix of horror and awe as the Great Pyramid began to change. The ancient stone seemed to melt away, revealing a shimmering crystalline structure beneath. A structure shaped like a colossal pyramid. Before the aliens or humans could fully comprehend what they were witnessing, the now unmasked crystalline pyramid unleashed a blinding wave of pure energy. The alien dreadnoughts caught in the blast disintegrated in spectacular explosions that lit up the sky like fireworks. Commander Zerk, his eyes wide with disbelief, could only watch as the pride of his fleet vanished. The invaders' technological supremacy had been reduced to nothing before the raw, primal power channeled by these ancient human relics. On the Paladin's bridge, stunned silence was followed by explosive cheers. Ava could hardly believe her eyes. They had survived. Against all odds, they were winning. The tide of battle had completely shifted. Demoralized, the remaining alien ships began a chaotic retreat. Human fighters, emboldened, pursued them relentlessly, harrying the fleeing enemy with surgical strikes. On the ground, the celebrations were short-lived. Zhao, standing amidst the ruins of what had once been solid stone, gazed up at the now exposed crystalline pyramid with a mixture of wonder and unease. "We've tapped into something incredible," she murmured, "but also potentially dangerous." The engineer knelt next to her, picking up a dislodged stone that had somehow retained its form despite the transformation. "It's unlike anything I've ever seen," he said. "This material, it's almost as if it rewrites itself." Reports flooded in from the other pyramid sites across the globe. They echoed the events at Giza. The stones had liquefied, revealing similar crystalline structures, channeling unfathomable amounts of energy. As relief washed over Ava in the Paladin's bridge, a new concern began to gnaw at her. They had won the battle, but at what cost? Had they merely traded one threat for another? Back on Earth, governments scrambled to understand the implications of what had transpired. Scientists pored over the pyramids, attempting to decipher their secrets, while militaries debated how to secure, and potentially control, this newfound power. Evelyn Zhao, once an obscure academic, found herself at the center of it all. The public hailed her as a hero, but she knew the truth was far more complex. They had stumbled upon a legacy left by an unknown civilization, a legacy that held both salvation and the potential for unparalleled destruction. News of Earth's unexpected victory rippled across the galaxy. Alien civilizations who had dismissed humanity as insignificant recoiled in surprise and fear. For the moment, Earth was safe, but they all knew this was not the end. Months passed, and Earth transformed under the shadow of the crystalline pyramids. Fear gradually gave way to scientific curiosity and cautious ambition. International teams converged at the pyramid sites, each nation vying for access and influence over this newfound power source. Evelyn Zhao found herself thrust into a world of espionage and political maneuvering. Every discovery she and her team made sent shock waves through global power structures. The heart of the Earth energy, as it became known, was far more than a mere weapon. With the right configurations, the pyramids could generate vast amounts of clean energy. They could heal wounds, reshape materials. The possibilities seemed endless. But as Zhao delved deeper, she uncovered a troubling truth. The pyramids were not simply conduits of a natural energy source. There was an intelligence woven into their design, an ancient consciousness that seemed to whisper at the edges of her perception. On the Paladin, Ava Santos was appointed head of the newly formed Earth Defense Force. They tirelessly patrolled the solar system, ever vigilant for any sign of a retaliatory strike or opportunistic aliens drawn by the pyramid's energy signature. The threat was ever present. The galaxy now knew that Earth was far from defenseless. Meanwhile, tension mounted between nations. Old alliances frayed as each country sought to control as many pyramid sites as possible. The very power that had saved humanity now threatened to tear them apart. Zhao, haunted by her discoveries about the pyramid's origins, found an unlikely ally in Ava. Together, they worked covertly, sharing information and attempting to forge a path that prioritized research and cooperation over the escalating power struggles. A fragile peace held as the pyramids slowly yielded their secrets. The energy they provided revolutionized agriculture, medicine, and manufacturing. But whispers persisted of accidents at research sites, of individuals being subtly influenced by prolonged exposure to the pyramids, and Zhao's recurring dream of a desolate city of crystal, echoing with lost voices. With each passing year, the sense of dread deepened. It wasn't simply paranoia or geopolitical conflict that troubled Zhao and Ava. There was a shift happening, a growing resonance between the pyramids, and something lurking unseen in the cosmic depths. News from a far-flung automated deep space probe heightened their anxiety. It captured a chilling image. Distant silhouettes of alien ships unlike anything they've ever encountered before, inexplicably converging on the solar system. Were they drawn by vengeance? Driven by curiosity? Or was there a far more sinister reason behind their arrival? The approaching armada held the potential to end Earth's tentative era of prosperity and hurl them back into darkness. A clandestine council was convened on the board of the Paladin, comprised of Evelyn Zhao, Ava Santos, and select world leaders willing to put aside national interests in the face of a grave threat. The energy from the pyramids, it's acting as a beacon, Zhao explained, projecting the probe's images. We thought we had become untouchable, but instead, we've painted a target on ourselves. Ava's jaw clenched. So, these pyramids that saved us could be our doom? Not necessarily, Zhao said, a grim determination flashing across her face. But this threat is different. Whatever's coming, it knows what we are, what we're capable of. In that moment, a chilling realization swept over the council. Humanity was trapped. To dismantle the pyramids and cut off the beacon meant plunging back into technological poverty, inviting future invasions by less advanced adversaries. Yet, keeping the pyramids active only strengthened the signal, luring something potentially unstoppable towards them. We need to prepare, Ava stated, her voice echoing the resolve of the entire room, not just for defense, but for a fight we might not be able to win. A desperate race against time began. Earth's space program accelerated exponentially. Mining colonies mushroomed on asteroids and moons, providing the raw materials needed for a massive buildup of warships. Ava oversaw the training of a new generation of pilots and strategists, drawing on the lessons learned from their near annihilation. Yet, amidst the war preparations, Evelyn focused on uncovering the true purpose of the pyramids. She pored over ancient texts, consulted historians, and risked expeditions deep into the pyramids' transformed hearts. Her dreams grew more vivid, the whispers of the past intensifying until they felt less like dreams and more like fleeting touches from minds across space and time. Through the mists of history and her growing connection to the pyramids' consciousness, Evelyn unearthed a terrifying truth. The pyramids were not simply tools of a bygone civilization. They were remnants of a last stand. The ancients had known, just as Earth did now, that something lurked in the depths of the galaxy, something drawn to potent energy sources. Zhao also realized the ancients had attempted a gambit with far-reaching consequences. In channeling the energy, they not only defended themselves but also altered the fabric of reality around Earth, shrouding it from detection. A cosmic sleight of hand. However, with the reactivation of the pyramids, that fragile disguise had shattered. The realization sent a ripple of despair through the clandestine council. All their preparations might be for naught. There could be no defense against an enemy capable of tearing through space-time, an enemy already closing in on the solar system. Do we have an alternative? A world leader questioned, mirroring the doubt on every face. To survive, do we dismantle the pyramids? Retreat back into the shadows? Evelyn met his gaze. I'm not yet sure the ancients lost, she said softly. There might be something more in those structures, a solution they never had time to. Her voice trailed off, as a sliver of her fragmented dream coalesced into an impossible picture in her mind's eye. We need to prepare, Ava affirmed, echoing the words she'd said so many years ago, but fueled by a far different understanding. But not only for war, perhaps for something none of us could have imagined. Ava focused on the tangible. She commissioned engineers and scientists to create weapons far beyond what their previous foes had possessed. Railguns powerful enough to crack a moon, missiles laced with exotic particles designed to disrupt alien shields, and vast orbital defense platforms Evelyn embarked on a daring gamble. With Ava's covert aid, she returned to the pyramids, venturing deeper into their transformed hearts. She sought not only answers, but a resonance, a way to sync her own mind with that of the ancient architects. The whispers intensified, the past bleeding into the present, threatening her sanity. Then, amidst an overwhelming echo of lost minds, she felt it. A flicker, a hidden pattern buried deep within the pyramid's energy matrix. The ancients had indeed left one last desperate weapon, a way to turn the entire pyramid network into a cosmic resonator capable of collapsing localized spatial anomalies. It was a suicide move. It meant channeling all available energy into a single cataclysmic pulse that would rip apart the immediate space around Earth, tearing any encroaching ships out of existence. But, in doing so, it would also drain the pyramids, perhaps forever, plunging the planet back into a technological dark age. The approaching armada was already within the outer rim of the solar system. Days, perhaps mere hours, separated them from Earth. Evelyn and Ava presented their findings to the Council. The stakes were impossibly clear. A horrific, but guaranteed sacrifice in the present, or facing the unknown terror of the approaching fleet with uncertain defenses. The decision was agonizing. In the end, they chose agency, even if it meant embracing self-destruction. As the Earth Defense Force positioned themselves for the inevitable clash, a global evacuation commenced. Underground bunkers long abandoned in the age of pyramids were hastily reopened. Humanity braced, not for victory, but for a chance at survival. The first tendrils of the alien armada pierced the edge of the solar system. They were monstrous, organic-looking ships with no recognizable geometry, as if reality itself warped in their presence. Dread settled like a suffocating blanket upon humanity. This was an enemy that defied all understanding. As the aliens drew closer, the pyramids pulsed with a heart-rending resonance that could be felt across the planet. The crystalline forms shimmered and changed, the light seeming to solidify until they became conduits of pure, blinding brilliance. Ava, aboard the Paladin, gave the impossible order. Her brave pilots rushed headfirst into the monstrous alien vanguard, buying precious minutes, each sacrifice echoing like the toll bell counting down to humanity's final moments. Within the Great Pyramid, Evelyn Zhao stood with engineers and world leaders, her heart a cold stone inside of her chest. The whispers of the ancients, once terrifying, felt almost comforting now. She touched the crystalline surface, feeling the thrum of apocalyptic energy coursing beneath her fingertips. "It's time," she said, her voice barely louder than a breath. With a series of synchronized commands, they initiated the sequence. The pyramids throbbed once, a heartbeat echoing across the solar system, and then, impossibly, they began to fold, turning in upon themselves, a kaleidoscope of collapsing light and echoing energy. As the first tendrils of the alien fleet became fully visible, reality seemed to tear around them. The monstrous alien ships twisted and shrieked, silently succumbing to the vacuum, and were violently yanked out of existence. It was as if an unseen hand was plucking them away, like cosmic weeds ripped from the soil of the universe. Across the solar system, humans watched in a mix of awe and terror. The Paladin was thrown off course as the shockwaves rolled outwards, but it held together. Then, in sickening silence, the pyramids were gone, leaving behind only desolate plains where they had stood for millennia. The alien armada, leaderless and blindsided by the sudden loss of their vanguard, faltered. Earth Defense Force seized the moment. With ruthless efficiency, born of desperation, they tore into the remaining alien ships. For a few desperate hours, the battle raged throughout the solar system, and then it was over. The alien threat, the unimaginable terror from the depths of the galaxy, had been decimated, sent reeling back into the cosmic dark from whence they came. But the victory was bittersweet. In the aftermath, as Earth wept for its fallen and assessed the damage, one question burned fiercely within Evelyn Zhao. At what ultimate price had they purchased their existence?